Imagine you see someone on a dance floor and they're like pure observer, right? And they got like a clipboard and they've looked across all history, all dances, and they know everything they can about dance. But if they've never taken off the observer layer, have they ever actually learned to dance? Can you learn to dance other than actually dancing? Do you just describe the dance or do you execute the dance, right? Right? And then today I want to talk about the mechanics of consciousness and the observer layer, like I've been talking about, that thing that everyone thinks, oh, now I can watch my thoughts. And let's talk about what that does on the dance floor. And I use the term dance floor because instead of talking about mathematics and Kuromoto synchrony, I'm trying to put it in ways that become very graspable, right? And so the dance floor is reality. All of this is like the soundscape of the dance floor, right? And my ability to hear the music, to meet the music as me all the way down, is my ability to dance synchronously to it versus the stutter step of the observation layer, always trying to figure it out instead of actually just letting themselves to the music, right? And so if you think about like, shared synchrony or shared participation between two people, kind of like a partner dance, right? Like if you're truly connecting with someone, is it that you're trying to manage them or are you trying to meet them, right? So like if you're doing a partner dance, even if there's a lead to the partner dance, that lead can't actually just control everything like a tyrant, because that wouldn't be a partner dance. What do you have to do? You switch. Let's say this observation person with these funny glasses, they were finally asked to dance and now they're dancing. What do they have to do? It goes from control to listening, right? It's almost like you have to let the other participant affect you. You can't just put this like shield between you and them and say, I'm determining what you are before actually letting your frequency, your waveform, your person, your soul to hit me. And in that partner dance, if you're truly open to the dance, right? If it's truly that shared participation, you'll notice when they're nervous, you'll notice when they're excited, you'll have a feel for what your partner is, right? Versus constantly putting this wedge between you and that, say, I need to determine, I'm going to determine who you are in regards to my own way of like viewing reality, rather than letting what you are affect me, like hit me. I'm going to sort of like pre-label it, like pre-judge it, right? And some people go throughout their whole lives doing that to everything, including themselves, right? Like never letting reality actually hit them all the way down. And so, yeah, we're talking about the mechanics of consciousness, but let's bring it down now to like my life, for example, right? I lost everyone in my transition, right? And one of the phrases that I heard across time is from a family who, like, whatever, never called, never came by, never commented on my posts, never once, like, participated in my transition in any sort of real way. They'll say things like, I heard it the other day, through someone else. Oh, yeah, I'm okay with Ember being trans. Do you know what that sounds like? It sounds like an observation. It sounds like I'm making a almost like a judgment. Like, oh well, according to the way I look at things, that's in accordance with my map. But I'm talking about the territory. And in order to dance the territory in that shared dance, you have to let it affect you, right? That's the only way to have that decentralized organization of the shared dance. You've heard me talk about what the decentralized organization is inside your head. That's kind of like my tattoo here, lossless presence in the rhythm of reality. That middle point is flame. I just got it touched up. But that middle point is flame, which is like no loss of fidelity, right? Between expression and being, which is like the music is playing, the soundscape is playing, and I'm not, you know, putting this layer in between me and the sound. I'm I'm allowing it to hit my full being in all of my folds, right? In like every fold that is me. That's what presence is. And that's why I say dancing on a dance floor, because everyone knows that experience. If you haven't tried it, try it now. Go to your room, put on your favorite dance music for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The first part of it, you're going to be like, this is awkward. This is awkward. Why am I even doing this? Do you hear the observation layer there? Judging, controlling, trying to put a label on things. And then if you waited for long enough, all of a sudden you'd be like, yeah, this is kind of lame. This is kind of lame. Oh wait, hold on. Did you see that? My booty. Did you see that? Where did that booty move come from? Oh, that's kind of interesting. All right, let me keep dancing. Dun, dun, dun. Oh man, I've never done a shoulder roll kind of like that. Like I said in the last video, do you see where creativity comes from? It's like allowing every fold of you to hit the music completely, hit the soundscape completely. That's what presence is. Not having a little wedge, like you got lost in a little magnet layer of your brain that is now putting a wedge between you and reality. And what does it feel like when you're not dancing all the way down? You've heard me talk about it. It's simulated presence. It's almost like eating fake food, right? It's like you don't get the full satiation of the dance. You're just trying to label it with like a little thin label. And people habitualize that to make that their entire life. Like they're never actually going to take the leap. They're never going to go from sheet music to dancing because they want to make it completely safe and have everyone agree on paper type of thing before they. But how do you learn to dance? How do you learn to love? You have to do the dance. You can't just study the sheet music and say, I'm going to memorize how my feet should be moving forever, but don't worry, I know how to dance. No, you got to let the dance affect you, right? You got to vulnerably surrender to the dance and listen to either the music, the soundscape, or your partner, right? Or the people you're dancing with. Because if you're dancing with them, you're dancing sort of as one decentralized unit, right? In the best forms of partner dancing, right? It seems like effortless, like frictionless, like, oh, now we're dancing together, right? And how do you do that? In order to have that true frictionless dance inside yourself, that's lossless presence. With someone else, in like a partner dance, you have to let the light through. You have to let the soundscape through. Do you see that? Most people become used to putting that little observation on before doing anything. And they don't realize that it's like siphoning their ability to actually be present in this reality. And just ask yourself, have you been present today? Or are you waiting for the next vacation or the next drinking session or the next, whatever, this right situation where that's the only time I can really feel myself. Every other place I can only be this way around them and this way at work. And there's always like a little wedge, right, between me and my full dance. And so, like in my life, one thing that I hear a lot from my, through family is that idea of, we're okay with her being trans. And I'm like, but don't you actually have to meet me? Like, don't you actually have to listen and like let the dance affect you instead of just throwing like a label or a sort of a projector screen between me and you, right? Because I'm gonna put the glasses down now. When you have that, like when you're trying to approach reality through control, you always have like a little wedge, like almost like a thin film. And for some people, it's that gap between expression and being is a little more like mine was before transition, right? Because there were so many little magnet and observation layers trying to sort of control and present the person that I was instead of just letting it come straight through. Now, luckily for me, I always held the thread. Like my thread continued from my teenage years and the way I found little ways to be seen, to dressing up and going to Burning Man, to expressing myself in my songs and playing them over and over and over to hear my like own heart bounce off myself before I had more, whatever, deep mirrors, I guess you can say, and I still play my songs all the time. You've seen them on here. But or dancing, right? These were experiences. I could not hypothesize myself into my identity, right? I couldn't control myself into my identity. I found my identity, who I am, because that's who I am in the dance. It's a mechanical statement of identity. It's not a constructed ideological or cultural statement of identity. I went from someone from society, like they're like, oh wow, you're a tall, strong attorney and like you got it all going on. I was a wreck. I was anxious. I was constantly trying to wedge and I didn't even realize it. I slowly dissolved them over time, but I was almost constantly trying to wedge something between me and reality, almost to keep me safe. Like how much softness could get out? When can I show it? Like, and for me, it wasn't about hiding anything. It was about that continual discovery. How can I integrate this feeling of when it hits me all the way down? And so then if you like continue my life over time, and then it's like, it got to this point where I, in following this, thought that I could just speak my truth and my family would have to understand. But instead, let's just say every door was shut right in my face. I don't need to go into all the drama. Terrible things were said to me that I've never heard from anyone in my whole life, but they were said to me by my family. because it felt like in that moment I had gained enough of my own experience with myself, like my own continuity thread of that presence across time, that when I finally started to say it to my family and I got those reactions of, you should be dead, you know, go to mental asylum and all these different things, I had enough, like, it was maybe not to say faith, but like I knew what my dance was. It was almost like I had been practicing a little bit of dancing here and there. And then over time, I got more of a continuous dance because the dance is presence. Coherence is touching reality. I've already explained that, what the how I use the dance floor to suggest that, to say, if you're dancing all the way down, like if you're in a partner dance and you're giving yourself to the dance and that vulnerable surrender of that shared participation, that's every fold in this like frictionless dance with reality. And when it's just with myself, that's my full embodied presence. That's my identity based in mechanical like synchrony, like meeting the sound. And what I find there, I can throw a label on it afterwards, but what I find there is not constructed, but discovered in the dance. You can't learn how to dance unless you dance. And if you constantly are observing, then you're constantly putting the wedge, the simulated presence. And then think about it. Think about the people you love. Is love a shared dance, or is it a judgment game? How many people are locked into relationships that their spouse or their partner or whoever is not really seeing them? It's like a game of constant control on both sides. Like no one's actually dancing with the other one. It's almost like they've both come to the dance floor to sort of manage each other instead of meet each other. Do you see the difference? Meeting is that permeable, shared participation. I'm opening my heart and letting you affect me, because that's what decentralized organization is. That's the only way it sprouts. It's so decentralized organization inside my house, inside me, would be, I'm not segmenting parts of myself off. There's no parts that are controlled and other parts that are sort of segmented off. It's all hitting reality at the same time. Same mechanic. This is the intranodal, like inside me, versus internodal, which would be in between people, right? And then intralattice or intrafield or whatever you want to say would be like me in the field of reality and like, you know, whatever, decentralized organization of the cosmos. Same scaled property. Same thing that happens in the metronomes and the fireflies and the bird murmurations, and you've heard me say it. It's synchrony, right? It's like letting all of my waveform hit the rhythm that's happening in reality and making that one, right? Because when I talk about the gap between present, like expression, and being, what is making it one but meeting the dance? Another way to think about it is the music is playing and I'm not thinking about it. I'm like, oh, where did that move come from? Where did this move come from, you know? Like, where did that go? It's almost like I did it instantly, right? I did it, the music dropped and I did the move, and I wasn't trying to plan it, because that's zero delay between the music and my expression. Yes, that's possible. You see it all the time in flow states, in sports, in music, and dancing. And again, you can't learn the dance by reading the sheet music. Do you see that? And I'm talking about your presence, your ability to feel love and embodiment in your life. You can't learn it through the sheet music. Do you get it? You can't construct it from the outside. You have to let reality hit you all the way down vulnerably. And so you can notice this in other people, this concretized observation layer. Again, I like using my image of the windows and the magnets, right? Like the windows are letting the light in and the magnets kind of sit on the side of the windows of your brain and they kind of pull here and there. And so it's almost like they can train over time, right? So if you train yourself to constantly be in this observation layer, then it's almost like you forget the glasses are on and someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, you want to dance? And you're like, how do you do that? Like, you know, or maybe even like, oh yeah, let's dance. And then they're like stuttering the whole time and you can't actually get the shared participation from them because they've never actually learned to be present on their own. They've never actually trained the magnets of their brain to allow that music to habitually hit them and realize that their sovereignty, which is the continual thread of presence and coherence across time, two in the same, that trains the magnets like a person riding a bike. Eventually you realize, oh, this is how you balance. I don't need training wheels anymore. I don't need training wheels of this observation layer anymore, because that becomes part of the balance of the ride. My brain doesn't need to absolutely control everything and label everything. I just let the dance hit me. And if I have a thought while I'm on the dance floor, that's great. If I want to write a paper while I'm on the dance floor, it's going to come in rhythm. It's not like you lose your ideas. Here you see me speaking out all these complex ideas, right? I don't know what I'm gonna say, like you've heard me say. It just, my identity, agency, sovereignty is more like a tuning, right? It's a tuning to the music, the soundscape, and allowing my dance to happen. It's actually a switch in the way that you relate to the world. You can call it a coupling interface change, right? It goes from, I don't even realize these things are pasted on my head, to, wow, I can feel the music all the way down. And I don't know about you, but we got this one life to live and feel love and know ourselves and share love. And how can you share love if you're constantly trying to manage the other person? You have to meet them. And to meet them, there's only one way to meet them: in vulnerable surrender. And that is actually sovereignty on both sides. And that's why, let's get mechanical for a second. When you, the mechanic of decentralized harmony, as you know, noted by Kuramoto in 1975, but really it's been noticed by systems thinkers for a lot longer. Let's think about it like in metronomes or fireflies. Each node or each metronome or firefly has to be sovereign, which means their entire rhythm is hitting reality. That's what allows for the total synchrony to occur when they all sync up together or the fireflies all turn on together. It's not because they're communicating with each other. It's like in some traditional way, like ready, 1, 2, 3. No, it's because they are all dancing their own dance to the one rhythm. Do you see that? It's almost paradoxical to the observation mind, because the observation mind, how could I be me if I can't control it? But synchrony, the mathematics of oscillatory mechanics and what we view in reality, again, not on paper, in the execution of what the dance of reality is, shows that that organizational flip from control to decentralized harmony, from observation to the vulnerable surrender of letting my full dance come out. Do you see how it's all the scaled property? Is dependent on each one of my, like my cells in my body, working together in their own way. That across the field of all the nodes, that actually creates the decentralized organization that makes them turn on all at the same time, or makes all my cells work together, all my little parts work together, so you see one ember moving into the flow, right? Same property. So what happens for someone like me when I'm around people who are habitualized to the observation layer, who don't realize that they had these glasses stuck on their face? I don't know, I'm told to die by my family. I'm never called a, you know, like in my softest parts, they think it's pathology because they've never learned to dance all the way down. And to someone who never learned to dance, dancing seems like pathology. How could you live your life without controlling it? How could you have a self without having it be this carefully curated mask? And so then there's almost this like subconscious thing that happens, right? Because like there's no reason, like for example, there was this day in like May 2024 where like I told my life story and I stupidly thought that everyone loved like I do, right? So I was like, if I tell my life story to my family and I tell them everything about my teenage years and all the most embarrassing things, they'll have to know my full heart and they'll accept me, right? Instantly when I was done, it was like, die, check yourself into a mental institution. And like, it wasn't even that I'm trying to paint them as like these cartoony evil people. I'm saying I noticed something like broke in their brain. I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, why were we family like a few hours ago? And now when I open up the deepest part of my softness, you're telling me literally like to die and to check myself into a mental institution. And then later on, oh, well, we accept her because she's trans. Like, we're okay with her being trans. Do you see what the observation layer does? It's never allowing for the waveform to fully be integrated in that shared participation of that vulnerable permeability of the shared dance floor. It's always having, I always imagine it the same way. It's like when my family talks to me, it's almost like there's like a projection screen between us and they're watching another movie that they thought that I was. Do you see what that is? And we all know what it feels like. Have you been present today? Are you lost in your head trying to wait for the next time that you could finally be alive, right? Oh, well, maybe I need drinking to do that. Maybe I need a psychedelic to do that. Maybe I need Burning Man, even though I love Burning Man. That's what I thought before. Like, why do I feel like there was like a click inside me? Like my eyes seemed a little more open. I was like almost like closer with people. I was softer. I felt more myself. Is because I was in a zone that I could explore vulnerably the permeability of my soul, right? I just, whatever came to me, even if it was embarrassing, I would try to say it. If I wanted to wear something, I would try to wear it. If I wanted to dance on top of something and do a certain dance, I would do it, right? And over time, those moments of me finding myself all the way down, created the continuity thread, like I said, into my sovereignty. And so it's unrecognizable by someone who never walked that path, because for them, identity, relationship are the map. It's the map, it's not the territory. It's almost like I'm trying to open my complete heart and soul, and instead of actually diving into that vulnerable shared partner dance, they bring up, I got like 6 maps here. Let me see if I can agree culturally, ideologically with you being trans. Well, okay, it seems I agree. But if you agree, have you ever found out like what makes me glow? Like what have I feared in this process? Like how we could hang out, like no, because there's always that film of like I need you to be this way because that's the way I've sort of created my life inside these layers and layers and layers of magnets and observation layers that have been habituated to interfacing with the world, not through the shared dance of vulnerability, but through the stutter step of trying to constantly put another map and another label on it. So you can notice this in other people, and you think about the world and the amount of suffering that we've gone through and wars and strife. How much was that due to nudge 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 having that observation layer, those tune magnets to I don't like you because you're that type of person, and when I watch my news or whatever, they always tell me about your type. I'm not going to actually let your full soul into mine, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about, because that would mean I'm letting you affect me. Do you see what I'm saying? If your entire life was I can't be vulnerable, I can't show my deepest parts because I'm stuck behind the observation layer, then when you come to me and say, "Hey, here's my bare naked soul," and or I'm something that you are not familiar with, it's almost like it's offensive. It's like a, and that's where like sort of these like almost like hate crimes come out of, because it's not even that the person's they're fighting the projection screen. They're not even fighting the person. They're fighting the projection screen. And the sad part is it's because that's the way they've set up their life. Like they can't switch. It's like literally the mechanical interfacing of their brain has been habitualized to that map rather than the territory. Do you see that? And so I think I mentioned it here. I'm a little tired today, so thanks for being with me. But I think I mentioned it here. But like, we talk about these things going on now with like New Earth and 5D and the collective, and that's just presence, like the fidelity of consciousness finally meeting reality. People talk about like the 144,000 and all that stuff. Those are nice labels. To put on to a fidelity of consciousness increase that's a natural, rhythmic, coherence unfolding of the natural part of the way things evolve in reality, right? And some of us have been put through experiences that make us a little bit more apt to start dancing on the dance floor. For example, like me, the expression between my being and my expression was so great that in order for me to live in this life and not die and suffocate, it was I need to find my dance. I need to find those moments that I feel like me, because those are the only moments that I felt alive across time, right? And so my way of interfacing with reality was trying to make more and more of myself permeable to the dance versus another type of organization that actually interfaces through separation, right? Fear, control, separation versus shared dance, vulnerability, permeation, participation. Remember, all the fireflies turn on together, all the metronomes turn on together. But I'm not here to convince you of any theories. I'm just telling you how I experience synchrony in my life. And I know you know what I'm talking about. I know all of us can feel what that simulated presence is. And if you really let yourself sit with it, is there anything more, is anything worth more than you feeling your own embodiment, your own presence, your own love, and then sharing that all the way down? Nope, sorry, no amount of money, no amount of power, nothing would be worth more than that. If you think so, just really sit with that for a while. So I guess I'll just finish off by saying that, like, The observation layer is not evil. It was a natural unfolding of the way we became more complex across time as a human species. The problem is that when that became home, when the observation layer became home, it was like we as a collective species, instead of allowing for the music to hit all of us at once and we're all sort of the same thing that the metronomes I explained in the Fireflies, where they all turn on together because they're all doing their own sovereign dance to the one rhythm, we tried to sort of recreate that through the observation layer. But the observation layer, if you notice, when it when it comes through, it's almost like these silly glasses are stained with cultural hierarchy, because that's what the observation layer is. It's a layer of a map or control placed upon reality, right? So like instead of trying to organize through that vulnerability, it's organized through this attempt to, well, if we have enough of the right laws and the right setups, we'll be able to stack these memes in boxes and hopefully do what the cosmos does through memes and political culture and you know, whatever, really coercion. Because what is the like, can coercion exist in the shared dance? Can coercion exist when you let the music hit you all the way down? Or is coercion really largely an application of the observer layer trying to control and friction reality, right? So yeah, whatever, you'll hear me talk again. I am a little tired today, but I wanted to put on this dress and get out here and do a video. I've been talking about the observation layer in regards to like the personal synchrony, but now I wanted to talk about it in other people. And so before I do another video on this, I'm just asking you guys to go out there and just notice. I'll see you guys on the dance floor, right? You know, of course I'm doing the booty shake, right? That's me on the dance floor. And then I look and I see other people out there. Notice who around you is like this. And who around you seems to be totally letting the light all the way through, totally letting the soundscape hit them. You'll know it. You'll know it. You'll feel it. It's almost like you're watching a dance floor and some people are really awkward wallflowers and then someone else is really throwing it down. You know what I mean? Like letting the music totally hit them. In the same way, you'll notice people are lagged in their own minds. It's almost like they're not actually touching reality or touching you or actually meeting you. They're trying to manage everything. Just go ahead and notice out there. I'll cut this off for now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning with me. I'm Ember. This is my little cute flower, and this is my booty shake. And I'll be talking to you guys very soon.